Welcome back, young entrepreneurs.
Today we have an award-winning author, entrepreneur, business owner, and podcaster on to talk with us today.
There will be 3 takeaways for this podcast. Number 1 being insight into the fashion industry.
Number 2 is how to produce meaningful content on social media.
And number 3, how to grow your podcast. Mr. Taylor, it's a pleasure to have you on. Let's start the show.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have you on today.
So let's start with our first question. Mr. Taylor, how did you get into entrepreneurship, and when did you know that you wanted to pursue it?
Well, guys, I'll be honest with you. Ever since I was pretty young, I kind of wanted to be involved in entrepreneurship, but a lot of times I started things, I tried different things, and I fell flat on my face and failed. I tried multi-level marketing, network marketing. I tried to start different kinds of businesses, and they never really took off. And maybe part of it was because I didn't stick with it, but I didn't give up. And so that's kind of why I knew that I really wanted to make it happen, because I just kept going despite the different obstacles that happened or the challenges. I just figured one of these ideas is finally going to work.
That's awesome. So, as you guys know, Mr. Taylor is the host of the Life of the Gentleman podcast. Could you tell the viewers a bit about that podcast, please?
Sure. The Life of a Gentleman is all about pretty much 3 things. We talk about fashion, we talk about business, and we talk about the gentleman's lifestyle. So we try to have on guests that either have started a business, that are in the fashion industry in some way, or a style influencer, guys you see on Instagram, or somebody that is in a business that sells a lifestyle item, maybe grooming or a beverage or food that guys would be interested in. And so it's just a place where guys can learn to think outside the box just a little bit, and also be inspired to go after their dreams and try to be the best gentleman they possibly could be.
That's really dope. So,
thanks.
We're going to talk about your book in a little bit here, but I had a question. How did you get into fashion to start?
Fashion was just something I always kind of liked. I liked to dress pretty well, even back in middle school, high school days. And so, like I had mentioned, I started a lot of different businesses, but as things progressed and there was the opportunity for online business, I thought that maybe I could sell fashion accessories online, because it was something that I kind of knew a lot about. At least I felt like an expert in that. And so, people always say, follow your passion or do what you love. And so I kind of really liked fashion. And so that's when I started my website selling men's accessories online. And so that kind of worked out, just kind of perfectly. Just like people always say, just kind of follow your dreams, follow what you're good at.
That's really cool, actually. So we saw that you're an award-winning author, and we saw the link to your free ebook that you wrote. Could you tell us and our viewers a little bit about your ebook?
Sure. Yeah, the ebook is something I put out just to try to help inspire people. It's called From Idea to Income, 5 Reasons You Need a Side Hustle. And what it does is kind of explain the benefits of starting something as an entrepreneur, even if it is on the side, and goes on to let you know that you can start small but think big, and that you can grow into something more, but you just have to at least get started. And so it's really helped a lot of people think outside the box and not feel bad that they work a 9-to-5, because that's totally fine. But the thing is, you can craft something on the side and have the opportunity to be even more if you're just working on it after your 9-to-5. Sometimes it has to be from 6 p.m. to midnight, but you can do a lot of work during those hours too.
Yeah, that's cool. We're going to leave a link to his free ebook on our Facebook page after this. So,
Okay,
next question.
great.
As a skilled entrepreneur with many experiences behind you, is there any advice you could give to our listeners on the show who want to start their own business?
Yeah, definitely. One of the biggest things, I know it sounds cliche, is don't give up and just keep trying because, like I mentioned, I failed many times, and the point is just keep going. Another bit of advice is to leverage social media the best you can, and don't be afraid to make connections. Hey, just the way you guys did, just reach out, and um, you'd be surprised. So many people are willing to help you, and mostly everybody is very nice, even if you feel that somebody is quote unquote out of your league or something like that. I found it to be that those are the people that really actually are the nicest and that will help you the most. So it's great to make those connections. Stay positive. So read something positive every day. Kind of get control of your mindset, because the worst thing you can do is have that self-doubt creep in. So that's when you give up.
Yeah, we agree. Biz deving is a huge key for the young entrepreneurs like ourselves. So, we're a very small, startup podcast. Is there any particular advice you could give us in terms of growing our podcast into something bigger?
Yeah, most definitely. What you need to do is stay consistent with your show. If it's weekly, then put it out weekly. Don't start skipping weeks. If it's bi-weekly, whatever the schedule is, keep it consistent for your audience. That's number one. Number two, try to get guests on and have the guest help you promote the show. Have them share the link if possible. And the third thing is just promote like crazy pretty much every single day, because there's so many podcasts popping up, so much competition, which, hey, a lot of it's good information, but if you want people to hear you, you kind of have to be the squeaky wheel. So just keep promoting every single day. And those are the three keys to getting your podcast off the ground.
Wow, that's awesome.
So when you talk about promoting every day, do you have any specific tips for how to work Instagram? Because sometimes it can be really challenging, and just going and following every single person you find to hope for a follow back and is not the best strategy. So we were wondering if you could give any tips on how to grow your Instagram profile.
Or overall social media presence.
Yeah, overall social media.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what, Instagram, you're right. You don't want to follow too many people. It starts to look weird after a while, just to be honest. But make use of the hashtags, especially hashtags that are about podcasting, podcasters, things like that. Because those are the things that other people that are interested in podcasts are searching for. So that works pretty well. Found that to be helpful. Also, just connecting, listening to other shows, leaving comments about other people's shows, showing love. You get love in return. But then on social media, as I mentioned, posting every day, and you guys can do behind the scenes stuff about the show, or you can just post about podcasting equipment, things like that, or just highlight your guests, people that you're having on the show, feature them, kind of tell their story. So just get creative, just think of different ways to do it. Every post doesn't have to be the same, or just saying watch our show, or listen to our show. But try to mix it up, make it interesting. Maybe just do some things you guys really like, or highlight some entrepreneurs that you look up to. It could even be big names that people really know, and just do a picture of them and just get the interest going all about entrepreneurship. I think you guys would be all right.
Yeah, we got to use some of those tips. So this is a little bit off topic, but you mentioned, and obviously your podcast is centered around somewhat fashion. So what are some of your favorite brands?
Some of the brands that I really like, there's a couple. I'm a big fan of Polo, Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
Brooks Brothers has some really nice stuff, good quality. For casual stuff, There's a new brand. I don't know how new it is, but it's called Theory. They have some good quality clothing, especially like when it's hot out. It's like moisture wicking and stuff like that. So I really don't get into brands really too much because I'm always looking for a deal. But, can't go wrong with like Banana Republic, stuff like that. Just the basics. But then, hey, my thing is accessories. So you can have on pretty basic clothing, but if you accessorize it up with the right watch, bracelets, tie, hat, socks, shoes are big too. Those kind of things. You can really get away with it without spending a whole lot of money, and kind of look like $1 million just with the accessories.
Yeah, I'm a big shoe guy myself.
So, as a final remark, what would you say is the single most important skill for a young entrepreneur to have?
I would say work ethic, because you can outwork a lot of people. Everybody pretty much is doing a lot of the same things, but the only way to really separate yourself is the work that you put in. I mean, just think about your podcast, right? There's probably 2 other guys that have the same exact idea. But the difference is if you guys are working on yours 4 hours a day and they're working on theirs 1 hour a day, you're going to end up being a lot further along. And with that, also not giving up on it, because if you stay persistent and somebody else drops off, you automatically take their place. It's kind of like a long distance race, man. You guys just have to keep running.
Right.
Yeah.
Consistency is very key.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
just keep working.
We just want to thank you again for coming on our podcast and trying us out and reaching out to us. We really appreciate that. We should definitely keep in touch.
Yeah, most definitely, guys. I wish you the absolute best. I appreciate you for reaching out to me. Anytime I have a chance to be on a podcast, I don't turn it down, because I know how hard it is to find guests. And hey, we're brothers. We're podcasters.
That was Mr. Taylor from the Gentleman's Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Y Entrepreneurs and Instagram and Facebook, Young Entrepreneurs.
we are now live on Spotify, and we are still going and uploading on all the other major podcasting services. So we'll see you guys next week.